What's going on, guys? Welcome into episode number 12 of the Ask Tony Show. Thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like we've hit a really good cadence. We've had a lot of good videos with a lot of good feedback. So we're getting into a nice little groove here of videos. So let's pop out another one.
How do you create a consumer-centric business culture?
So when we're talking about business, in my opinion, there's two camps, if you will, of how you're going to run your culture. There's a money culture, like profit-centric culture, and then there's consumer-centric culture. A lot of people try to kind of play in the middle, but when it comes to big decisions, in a lot of cases, you're gonna have to pick one or the other. And so the way that you can build a consumer-centric culture, in my opinion, and this might seem counterintuitive, but it's to be selfish. You wanna be selfish and give all you have to the consumer. Why? Because if you create a consumer-centric culture within your company, then those customers are gonna keep coming back and you're going to retain them. They're gonna maintain as being your customers. So I see it as, if I'm gonna be selfish and if I'm thinking about my own personal self-interest, then I wanna be as consumer-centric as I can because those clients are my clients. And I want them to be happy, I want them to be satisfied, and I want them to stay, and I want them to repeat business with me. So sometimes a lot of people think, okay, if you're completely profit-centric, that's where you're being selfish. And I guess there is a way that you could say that that is true, but the way that I try to see it and the way that we've tried to build a consumer-centric culture is it's in our best interest for our clients to stay. It's in our selfish best interest for them to keep doing business with us instead of going somewhere else. So in order to achieve that, we have to give good service, good information, we have to do good follow-up, we have to make sure that we're there, that we're helping them out, that we're kind of walking them through the real estate process, again, so that they don't leave. So I see it as it's in your best interest as an entrepreneur to really invest heavily in your customers, because at the end of the day, that's all you have. And if you choose to go more of a profit-centric culture, then it's all gonna be about the money. And what you're gonna find is you might make more money in the short term, but if you forget about your clients, then a lot of them, or most of them, they're not gonna be happy, they're gonna go somewhere else, and you're gonna stay in that hamster wheel trying to acquire new customers to make the money that you wanna make, and it's just a never-ending circle. On the other side, if you can have a consumer-centric culture, then it kind of goes on its own because you have happy people that are willing to come back, they're doing business, and so it becomes much easier for you to be consumer-centric. And the interesting thing is you'll actually make more money in the long term because you have the referrals, the good reviews, the happiness, all that positivity. It'll pay dividends that you'll make much more money than if you just focus on the money at first and you're gonna make less. So be selfish. It's in your best interest to take care of your customer and make sure that everybody in your building understands that and you put the customer first.
What is the best time management tip?
So time management is something that I used to struggle with a lot. And in the last probably 6 or 8 months, I've been trying something that has worked really, really well. And I actually wrote an article about this on Medium. And I also wrote the exact same text for Forbes magazine. And I think that one's gonna get featured next month. But my number one time management tip right now is to take your phone and disable all social media notifications. All of them. The only one that you're allowed to keep is Facebook Messenger if you communicate to people that way, WhatsApp if you communicate with clients, family members or something that way, or just your basic text message. But all of the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever you use, disable all of your notifications. So what that has done for me is it allows me to focus and only check my apps when I want to check my apps. Before, I'm crazy OCD, so when I saw that little red number above the app, it distracted me. Like I had to check and I had to see what it was and I kind of wasn't at peace until I checked all of my notifications, and I wasted a ton of time that way, because if I looked at my numbers, which if you have an iPhone, the iPhone tells you how much time you spend on screen time, on different apps. My numbers were crazy out of control. I was spending a ton of time on social media, on YouTube, and it just wasn't very productive. So now, what I found is, now that I don't have notifications, I periodically go in, I'll check, and the interesting thing is that you're not missing out on anything. You know, sometimes you check Twitter every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, you refresh and refresh and refresh, thinking that you might miss out on something or whatever. Trust me, guys, you're not. Any big notification or any message or comment or DM or whatever, it's still going to be there when you open your app. It's not going anywhere. So whether I open it right now or I open it later, it's still going to be there. So that would be my number one time management tip, is disable all social media notifications, and only check it when you want to check it. Don't let the phone control you, but you control the phone. And if you're into analytics like I am, check your numbers, and I promise you, you're going to be way, way, way more effective, and you're going to be able to get a lot more done throughout your day.
How do you keep team members accountable?
Keeping team members accountable is something that I've worked a lot on over the past 6 months. When I first started out as a broker, I wasn't really sure how to lead. Like I was a really good agent, but now I was kind of above all the other agents, and I had to help them succeed. So one of the most important things is people have to understand what their task is. They have to understand what's expected of them. So I'm kind of in a peculiar situation because all of my agents are different, and they're running their own business. Some of them do showings for us and things like that. But for the agents that are trying to run their own business, I'm trying to give them accountability so that they can build their own business, but they're not my employee, if you will. So what I try to do is give them a framework of what they should be doing, building marketing plans, business plans, giving them ideas, and then just following up and making sure that they feel supported and that they know what they're doing. But something that I found that was interesting at first is I was trying to keep people accountable and trying to see that they were doing stuff, but I wasn't giving them the resources or the map to know what to do. So it was kind of like, if I had an agent, I would just every month be like, hey, how are you doing? What have you done to grow your business? Can I help you with anything? And that was it. And so it wasn't very effective. So if you're a leader out there, if you're an entrepreneur, you have employees or whatever it is, and you are in charge of accountability, then you have to build a framework where you have specific goals and milestones that you have to be achieving with daily action steps. And then you can have a much more effective accountability meeting, because now I can say, okay, did you make your 10 calls? Did you do your 5 visits? Whatever it is, whatever the numbers are, now it's much easier to have an accountability call because you have those numbers, you have those milestones, and you know if somebody's hitting it or not. But a lot of people try to hold people accountable when there's no substance behind it, and you really can't. So people just kind of float because they're supposed to be doing stuff, but what are they supposed to be doing? And you'll say, oh, agent, you got to do more. But what is that more? So you as a leader, your job is to create a foundation, is to create substance, is to make sure that they know what to do, how to do it, and then it's up to them. But if you don't build that in the forefront, then your people are going to fail.
Who are your idols or mentors?
Okay, so idols and mentors, in my opinion, and I had a training about this a couple of months ago actually, you should have different levels of idols or mentors, in my opinion. The first level should be the people that are close to you. So in my opinion, it's the people in my family. They're my idols. They're the people that I look up to. I look up to my dad a ton. He's a super hardworking guy. I can remember when I was a kid, sometimes we'd have good times, bad times, and he was always working a ton of hours. Up until this day, he works super hard. He's very family centric. So I really look up to that, and I've been able to learn a good work ethic, to not complain, to just work hard. and then focus on your family in the times that you're not working. So that's just one example. I look up to all my family members. I could name every single one by one, but at that level, they're my idols. They're the people that are closest to me. If you separate one more level, it's people that you know, that you work with, people that, you know, that they're not your siblings or your best friends, but they're people that are in kind of that next sphere of influence. And in that case, it would be someone like Daniel, who is my business mentor. He was my broker initially. He was the person who brought me into real estate. So he's kind of taught me everything that I know as it pertains to business, team building, you know, everything that I am as it pertains to being a broker and working in real estate is thanks to him. So he's someone that I look up to a ton. He has an MBA. He has a ton of experience. He's a serial entrepreneur, super hardworking. So he's a great example that I get to see day in and day out of just being a good business person. So the next level, again, we have your family members, the people that you work with, associates, and now you have kind of the macro, which is people, you know, celebrities, people that you don't know, that you haven't met, that maybe you follow on social. So I would say people like a Gary Vee, people like a Kobe Bryant, people like a Tom Brady, a Bill Belichick. There's a lot of characters out there that can be inspiring. So if we take just one, it would be Gary Vee, who, you know, this entire show is modeled after his content deck and everything that he puts out. So I've been able to meet Gary on a couple of occasions, and everything that you see on social, that's who he really is. And that was something that I really admired, was just the authenticity. He really wants to help people. He believes in himself. He believes in others. And I'm sure probably the majority of you guys have watched his content before or do watch it now. And it's just real, it's raw, it's honest. And in my opinion, it's really helped me build my mentality, build my habits. And I could say that a lot of what I do is mirrored after what he does, the way he does it at my own scale and at the way that I do things. But that would probably be the macro idol or mentor, would be Gary Vee.